Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey.
Hello.
And the Lord of Puppies, SDA.
Hi.
And I'm your host, Scribe, the Lord of Punishment. And we already have super chats before we begin, so let me do those real quick. Adabisi requested an ad about how one convict fought the system by pulling out the dildo from his ass and used it to escape his prison block.
What the fuck?
I know, right? So thank you, Adabisi. Point curation, an ad for Scribe advertisements. So I get to write a essential text-based act of masturbation. Thank you, Point. And Terry Diamantis just wanted to let us know, he wanted to thank me essentially for the appalling pun in the stream title. Har har. Yeah, for those of you that might be listening to this months or years after the fact, we'll try to make it relevant later. But yeah, I don't know how much of a shelf life this quote-unquote controversy has, but we'll see. Anywho, how are you guys tonight?
Not bad at all. Yourself?
Doing okay. SDA, how are you?
I'm good.
Let's see. Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies. Hit that like button if you have not already. And please share our stuff all over the place. Share it like a bad case of the flu. Everywhere. Sneeze on people with our content. That's what
there
I'm
you
saying.
go.
That's what
That's
I'm saying.
very weird. Don't sneeze on people. Like sneeze around people.
Weird is my bread and butter. What can I tell you? Let's see. So, do we have anything to talk? Oh, we need a Grand Monkey report.
We didn't have to watch as much The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. We only watched it 3 times today. Snuck in some Peppa Pig and some Boss Baby. But she went home and her mom was trying to get her dressed and told her to hop up on the bed, and she looks at her mama and she goes, "I can't. I'm old like Grandpa." He uses that excuse for everything now.
Oh my God, I'm old like Grandpa. Oh boy, such a cutie. Yeah. So anything else?
Savage as fuck, dude.
It is a little bit, but she doesn't know it. She's innocent. It's fine.
It's gonna be funny when she's older and you're like, you used to be like, you can't do things because Grandpa's old and awful, and she's gonna be like, oh shit.
Anything to cover elsewise before we move into the schnuzz of the day?
Nothing that I can think of.
Alrighty. Well, a couple of things have happened in the last hour or so that, no pun intended, but I'll take it anyway, kind of trump this news. But we have some political news.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So Trump begged Orrin Hatch to run again. The senator retired anyway. And this comes from our favorite friend at CNN, Chris Cillizza.
Of course.
So I can't wait to see what we have here. President Donald Trump made one thing very clear over the last few months. He badly wanted Utah Republican Orrin Hatch to run for another Senate term. At an event in Utah in December, Trump said this of Hatch: "You are a true fighter, Orrin, and I have to say I've gotten to know him very well. I've gotten to know a lot of people very well. You meet fighters and you meet people you thought were fighters, but they're not so good at fighting. He's a fighter. We hope you will continue to serve your state and your country in the Senate for a very long time to come." At the bill signing event at...
So bizarre, aren't they?
Sorry, what?
Trump's speech patterns.
Yeah,
they're very weird.
Thank you, Cryptic. For a plane, not a UFO. Okay, well, I get what that means. Plain speech, one of the stalwart custodians of the Chaos 120 stream, wanted a intro ad that I did for him. So thank you, Cryptic. Appreciate it. Hope Plane likes that one. Let's see. Hatch traveled to and from that Utah event with Trump on Air Force One. At the bill signing event on Trump's tax cut legislation just days before Christmas, Trump called the Utah Republican the great chairman, Orrin Hatch, adding, "Great job, Orrin. Wow, Orrin is a special person." Jesus. Get on that short bus, Orrin. You're a special person. Anyway, I'm not going to go over this, but the short version is that Orrin Hatch decided not to run. And
Yes.
that opens up the door for Mitt Romney to run for his seat.
Yeah.
Which is so weird that we're even talking about Mitt Romney this late in the game, so to speak. But, yeah.
It's extra relevant. Mitt Romney's always relevant, though.
Well, it's Utah, so he should win in a walk.
Yeah, it would be. I would be amazed if anyone. First off, if anyone serious actually challenged him, and B, if he lost, it would be amazing. So yeah, Mitt Romney might actually end up in, national politics again after having lost the presidency before. Do you think Mitt Romney would run for president again?
How old is he?
Oh God, I don't know. I think in his 60s, maybe. Early 60s, maybe. He's 70 years old right now. As of he'll be 71 in middle of March.
Then probably not.
Maybe not.
Maybe he could. He's still. I mean, he's a young 70. He's not. He doesn't seem that old.
No, it's that good Mormon living he's got there. Thank you, Sanguine. Research ad: a cult for Chak. A cult for Chak. I have absolutely no idea what that is, but Sanguine specializes in the obscure, so I will do my best.
Yeah, it's hard to be more obscure than you, and
I know, and I've got my head just full of useless trivia, so what do I know? Yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of Chris Solis's article because it's just a blog post where he's just blah, but that's the news anyways. Orrin Hatch, who's been in the Senate for like 40 years or something, is not going to run again. And Chris Solis is trying to frame this as an indictment against Trump's influence, but then Orrin Hatch is like 70 something and been there for 40 years. I'd probably retire too.
Is that the point of the story, that Trump just didn't have enough influence to keep him there?
Well, that's what the headline suggests to me. Trump begged Orrin Hatch to run again. The senator retired anyway.
I guess you're right, yeah.
I mean, admittedly, I am a bit reading between the lines here, but that seems to be the notion being pushed. And again, if I read the rest of the article, maybe that would come out more so, but anyway.
They're just saying, I mean, it's the way he talked about Hatch, that's not unusual for presidents to talk about senators in their own party.
Right, or senators that are at least friendly to their initiatives and such. So I want to know where he knows that he begged Orrin Hatch to keep running, unless that was like a public thing. I don't know, but
it's Chris Solis. He's an idiot.
Let's see. Anyway, that aside, hey kids, do you like Russia?
Depends on the day. What do we have?
Well, first off, thank you, Mr. Baker. The Quarterings channel just got terminated. Yep, I'm going to talk about that at YouTube Drama Time.
It kind of depends on whether or not Putin is a good sugar daddy.
Well, you could go to Russia and find out.
I could, but that seems dangerous. So we're going to go with no, we don't like Russia.
Excuse me, a historical drama about two star-crossed lovers set during the time of the cultural symbiosis between the Sumerians and Akkadians.
What the
I think Mr. Baker's trying to give Sanguine a run for his money, looks like.
What are you guys doing? Oh my God.
Okay, I will try to do my best on that one. That is a... I don't know how I can't avoid putting a Sargon of Akkad joke somewhere in that one, but I will give it a shot. So Romeo and Juliet in the Babylonian era. Okay. All right. I'll do my best. So I don't know how important this story is. Of course, it's about Russia, so probably not, but it seems to be talking about some kind of next phase in the Russia probe. So maybe. House Russia probe poised to break down along partisan lines. Is that really surprising?
No.
Is that really news? Really. I don't know if it's news. Let's see. Democrats and Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee are on a collision course as the two sides appear increasingly likely to issue competing reports coming to starkly different conclusions about the panel's Russia investigation. Gee, imagine that. GOP leaders in the House panel are eager to wrap up the investigation soon, with influential Republicans saying the exhaustive review has dug through thousands of documents and interviewed virtually every major witness and has found scant evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russian operatives to meddle, you meddling kids, in the 2016
dumb
elections.
dog too.
Yeah, imagine that. We've gone almost a whole, actually more than a year now of this, and they found practically nothing, if anything at all.
Yeah, so why do we keep covering this? I mean, I know, like, you love CNN and everything, but, like...
It's not CNN. It's just that, I mean, this is tons and tons of taxpayer money being spent on this wild goose chase. And if for no other reason than that, I think it's worth bringing up from time to time to remind us just how we're into Whitewater 2.0 kind of with Trump.
I like the Russia investigation.
Why is that?
It amuses me.
I'm getting an echo. It's probably SDA.
The best case, maybe somebody in the Trump administration talked to the Russians and something happened.
God. Okay. Thank you, Flair Fritz. Ad for a movie adaptation of the book Ass Goblins of Auschwitz.
That's a book.
I have heard of the book. I have it a long time ago, but that's let me write that one down here.
Of course you've heard of that.
Well, how can you not have heard of the Ass Goblins of Auschwitz?
I don't know, Scribe. I don't know. Why wouldn't somebody have heard of that, Scribe? I don't know. You tell me.
Thank you, Point Curation. Ad for the rise and fall of the mighty trilobite over their 270 million year reign. Oh, that should be totally like narrated by Morgan Freeman. That makes it like March of the Penguins. It's like Death of the Trilobite.
Trilobite.
Trilobite. Well, whatever.
Do you not know how to say trilobite? Like, you know about, what is it?
I'm an English major, not a biology major.
Some weird kinky bullshit, and then you're like, yeah, but a trilobite.
Okay, well, tell me about Meatloaf again.
Hey, that's a pop culture reference. It doesn't
matter. Okay, right. Okay, yeah. Whatever you say.
You know what? Either way, I wouldn't put either kind of meatloaf in my mouth, so it's fine.
Sorry, Monkey. The ad and everything else kind of made my mind go fuzz for a second. What is it you love about...
Was that you roboting or me?
That was him.
Oh. So answering him probably won't help much. Yeah, I just think it's funny. That's all. It amuses me that that's the narrative they want to take on bringing down Trump. Not any policies or anything. The hundreds of thousands that were spent trying to get hosed to say he did nasty stuff. Are you back?
Yeah, my internet completely died. Like, my entire signal just dropped out. I didn't even realize it. I was like, why can't I hear anything?
Oh, well, welcome back.
Okay. I hope that doesn't happen again. Anyway, sorry, guys. That was weird. I don't even know what you said for the last few seconds, but I'll just assume it was something witty and awesome.
Of course it was. It was me.
It's super
okay.
weird.
No, all I said is the investigation amuses me because this is what they're hanging their hats on. This is what the hill they decided to die on. Instead of, I mean, we had, this massive women's protest and they haven't had anything that they can nail him on with women. He's supposed to be this massive racist. There's nothing to nail him on racism. So what do? They go for Russia, which, if you guys don't remember, was actually, there was talk before Trump was ever considered really a good candidate about Hillary colluding with the Russians. So I just think it's funny. That's all.
Thank you, Terry Diamantis. With that much roboting, I think he's a Scriborg.
That is a pun of the minute for sure.
No, pun of the... Oh, now we have pun of the minute? I don't know, that was a new category.
Well, that's like, when it's not quite good enough to be in the running for pun of the night.
Okay.
But, like, it still made you go, ha 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 ha. Then it gets to be pun of the minute.
And lastly, at least as far as major news stories, I suppose, or at least those that CNN thought were important. A sign of the times as we enter the new year. 1,500 more security barriers are going up in busy parts of New York City. Yeah. New York City plans to install more than 1,500 protective barriers in high-profile locations to guard against vehicle attacks and other terror-related incidents. The effort, unveiled Tuesday by Mayor Bill de Blasio, is part of a $50 million investment in security infrastructure after vehicles were used to mow down pedestrians in 2017. Known as bollards, the cylindrical metal posts will replace concrete barriers that went up on sidewalks after vehicle-related attacks in Times Square and Lower Manhattan. Quote, in 2017, New Yorkers witnessed the horrible capacity of people willing to do us harm, whether it was in our subways, on our bike paths, or in Times Square, the mayor said. But we will not be cowed, and our expanded investment today in barriers and bollards in our public spaces underscores our resolve to keeping New York City safe from future attacks. It probably won't stop future attacks, but thank you, Point Curation. Merkel blocks. Oh, that's one way to put them, I suppose. Merkel blocks. In New York, 8 people were killed and almost a dozen injured in October when a man drove a rented pickup truck down a busy bicycle path near the World Trade Center. 5 months earlier, a man drove his car through crowded sidewalks in Times Square, leaving 1 person dead and 20 injured. In between those incidents, a motorist in Barcelona killed 13 people in August as he drove a van down Las Ramblas, a popular tourist walkway. Bollards already dot pedestrian plazas around Times Square thanks to a $15 million capital project completed in 2016. The latest injection of funds will add more bollards to the iconic New Year's Eve destination and expand their presence throughout the city. A sad sign of the times, let's say.
Soon they're just going to have to take out roads.
Well, the state is still like that.
No more roads in New York City. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Just they'll have to like pave them over with like giant concrete blocks.
Yeah.
It'll just be like, yeah, it's like a city block will actually be a literal interpretation of what's actually there now.
It's great that they're putting them up because, yeah, they're obviously needed, but you're right. Just a sad sign of the times.
Yeah. So I don't have any other news. Let me make sure that nothing has broken, so to speak, in the last few minutes. Oh, well, I guess that is breaking news. Okay, finally it made it to CNN. It was just on Twitter up until about, well, I guess 10 minutes ago. But hey, how about some saber rattling between Trump and Kim Jong-un?
Oh, I like these.
Yeah, so this happened on Twitter just before, I guess it would be 9 o'clock your time. No, sorry, 8 o'clock your time. And this has been retweeted several times. Trump taunts North Korea. My nuclear button is much bigger, much more powerful.
Oh my God.
I'm not even kidding. Oh,
really funny. I'm sorry.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, hold on. Thank you, Mr. Baker. Ad for a Netflix superhero series about Florida man as he fights his arch enemy with the aid of his power sources, bourbon, whiskey, and moonshine. His arch enemy is Florida woman who wants him to pay his damn child support.
Oh, there's a dig.
Okay. Florida man as a hero. I hadn't thought of it in that way.
Florida man is the hero that we all need, I think.
No, he's the one we deserve.
I kind of imagine a knockoff of Hancock in that plot line, but I'll.
Oh yeah.
I will do my best. Thank you, Mr. Baker. President Donald Trump on Tuesday taunted North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, warning Kim about U.S. nuclear capabilities as tensions worsen between the two nations. And I'm going to read the tweet verbatim. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un just stated that the, quote, nuclear button is on his desk at all times, unquote. Will someone from his depleted and food-starved regime please inform him that I, too, have a nuclear button, but it is much bigger and more powerful one than his, and my button works.
That is our president saying to another world leader, my dick is bigger than yours.
I know, that's why
I
it's
approve.
so funny. You know what, though? Like, I would be mad if it wasn't true. But, I mean, you know, yeah, like, it is true. Our nuclear dick is bigger.
Yep.
So go us, I guess.
Let's see. The evening message followed more than a dozen other tweets that Trump had sent throughout the day on issues ranging from the New York Times coverage of his administration to conflict in the Middle East. Kim said Monday in his annual New Year's Day address that, quote, the entire mainland of the U.S. is within the range of our nuclear weapons, and the nuclear button is always on the desk of my office. They should accurately be aware that this is not a threat, but a reality, unquote. In the address, Kim also expressed a desire for a peaceful resolution with South Korea, a break from the aggressive language he used to threaten the U.S. Yeah.
I mean, he did threaten the U.S. Like, I mean, I know it's easy to get caught up in the Trump dick measuring contest, but at the same time, he did threaten the U.S.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
And I think that when people jumped, like I said, I'm not saying, like, is it the most presidential thing to do? Absolutely not. But, you know, I think if we're going to be mad about that, you need to be at least, 2 times as mad about the fact that somebody's threatening the U.S. Just saying, like, we kind of live here and stuff.
Thank you, Sanguine. I was told by Lucky 7 to dial up the complexity for this one so research ad. Okay. A cinematic epic detailing the multi-migration out of Africa model of human evolution, but must end with the dead end of Florida Man.
That's an epic.
You know what? That is going to be the prequel to the Florida Man superhero movie. Somehow I'm going to make that a prequel. I don't know how. I have to think about this. Holy cats, guys. These ads may be split up over a couple of days, depending on how much my brain oozes out of my ears trying to make stuff. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, so okay, I've said it before. I understand that Trump is not a politician, but tweet-plomacy is something that I absolutely hate. This is not how. No, really. I mean, what else can you call it at this point? I mean, seriously, it's the president of the United States represents the policy and the intent of the nation. Beyond the individual man, he is speaking for the country et al. And by broadcasting, I mean, we just saw just earlier today, he said something about, and I can't quote it here because I don't have it in front of me, but he tweeted out about how Pakistan. It is nothing but deception and lies. And then Pakistan immediately had a Security Council meeting in their own government to address this internally. Trump, directing essentially national thought to the rest of the world in these little tweets. I don't like it. I don't care how entertaining it is. I don't like it. I don't like it as a national or a foreign policy method or a way of expressing, like I say, relations to other countries. Thank you, Point Curation. Ad, Florida Man becomes self-aware. Jesus Christ. I
like that one.
That's ripping off beautiful. Florida Man today.
This might be like a trilogy now. Florida Man, yeah.
Florida Man becomes self-aware. That's awesome.
All right. Yeah, and Mustafa the Savage is exactly. Great minds think alike. The Florida Man trilogy. Anyway, that's just me griping about. I'm calling it tweet-plomacy. I've registered that trade. If it hasn't been used before, you heard it here first. Tweet-plomacy.
I'm with you on the Pakistan one. The one with Kim Jong-un, I really don't have a problem with.
Yeah, I'm with Monkey there. Like on the Kim Jong-un, I don't care. Pakistan, yeah, you're right. That's where you get into like fucked up territory.
Look, like I understand, like as far as world players is concerned, North Korea isn't exactly a major thing. It's not the target of the rhetoric. It's the mechanism and how it's being used. Not like I say, not only for North Korea, but now for Pakistan and of course several others in the past. But it's becoming a thing now that's actually affecting global politic. And I like I say, I as entertaining as it might be in individual instances, I don't like it as something the president is doing.
Well, is it really different than the weekly radio address?
Well, most of the weekly radio addresses that I've heard in the past, and again, I don't listen to, I used to catch the Obama ones more often than not, but they were basically benign and just sort of like had platitudes and just, sort of harmless rhetoric mostly. It was rarely declarations of intent or ill will towards other countries.
Fair enough. Is it just the platform, or is it what he's saying?
It's the unfiltered nature of just our president sort of blurting, without seemingly without any consideration or not going through sort of more appropriate channels. And I understand I'm asking for more pomp and circumstance than perhaps Trump is capable of doing or is interested in doing, but all the same, there's something about the office of the president that I think should supersede the ego of the individual sometimes. Thank you, tall person. Ad, Florida man goes to the DMV. Oh my God. I'm going to have to turn this into a TV series. It's got to be like a TV anthology series like Black Mirror or something. Just like Florida Man, the series.
Florida man did it.
All right. Anyway, all my ranting aside, that's all the news I have at present. Thank you, Flair Fritz. Make it a pentology. Too late. But the fifth movie is the shitty edition that comes after Disney buys the Florida Man franchise.
that is you guys are creative tonight. I like this.
Oh man. Okay. I'm being inundated. This might be a two-nighter event with these ones. That's a
special Scribe event.
A special. I might have to put all the Florida Man stuff into one group and just do that all at once. We'll see. So did you guys have any news stories that jumped out at you today otherwise?
The only news that I've seen today is about Logan Paul, and I'm really kind of done with it.
I saw that it was fake. Is it fake? Now I'm confused.
I hadn't read it was fake. I haven't actually read the details, but I saw that he made some kind of self-serving apology about it. But I don't know about if it was like staged or something.
2 self-serving apologies.
Hmm?
2.
Oh, 2? Oh, this is how deeply I looked into it because I knew we'd be covering it tonight, so I didn't look too hard. Anyway, if nothing else, we can move on to MSS News.
Sure.
All right, as long as my internet doesn't drop out again. That was weird. Everybody in the chat, if you have news stories you'd like us to take a look at over the course of the stream, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSSNews. We can't promise we'll get to them all, but we'll give them as many as we can over the course. And let's see here.
And thank you guys so much for playing along with that, because it really does help us out.
It does. Let's see. Let me scroll down a bit until we get to maybe yesterday's-ish stuff and work our way back up so don't miss too much. Where do I holy cow, people sent us a lot of stuff. Okay, there we go. That's where we left off yesterday. Well, Joe McLaughlin sent us an update, or I should say maybe an old article about 11 objects found stuck up people's bottoms, but I think we did enough of that last night, so thank you, Joe McLaughlin.
Don't stick shit up your butt.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely don't stick shit up your butt, because that's definitely the wrong direction.
Oh my God, you guys gross.
Well, I'm a boy. I don't know how to be otherwise. What's this? Okay, this one comes from Jack the motherfucking Cochran. And what do we have here? I almost thought it was a Florida man story, but apparently not. It's L.A. man. L.A. man charged with making terroristic threats against Islamic Center. That's always a smart move.
Oh, good job, dumbass.
Let's see. A Los Angeles man found with multiple weapons and hundreds of pounds of ammunition in his home was charged with making terroristic threats to the Islamic Center of Southern California. Mark Lucian Feigen was arrested last week on the charge, which has been designated as a hate crime, according to the LAPD. Feigen, 40, has been released on bail. A message left at a number listed under his name was not returned Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. Feigen first called the Islamic Center September 19th and left a hate-filled voicemail, police said. The next day, they said he called and threatened to kill people at the center. Police also believe Feigen was posting threatening and hate-filled posts on his social media pages.
I'm sorry. Can we stop for a moment?
Mm-hmm.
He was found with all kinds of ammunition and stuff.
Yeah.
And they let him go.
Well, I presume they confiscated his weapons and the ammunition.
I hope they put him on some kind of list.
Yeah, they got pictures of this. He's got lots and lots of rifles, semi-automatic and otherwise, and I'm not even kidding, buckets of ammunition.
And I have no problem with that if you're a law-abiding citizen, but once you start calling and making threats to other people, it's time for you to go away for a while till you calm the fuck down.
Well, if he's convicted, he'll lose his ability to own guns, so.
Yeah.
What's this?
And I'm not saying even just hold him till trial. That's all I'm saying.
What is this one? Oh, thank you, Flair Fritz. Florida Man will end up as the next Ernest series. Man, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Florida Man saves Christmas.
And the cool thing is, Florida Man being an abstract entity, anybody can play him.
Yes.
There won't be like one individual, unless you have it sort of like Quantum Leap, where it's like you have one guy just jumping around, taking over people's bodies and representing Florida Man.
You know who should play Florida Man?
Who should play Florida Man?
Lena Dunham.
Ah!
Oh no, but now you can't watch it, Monkey.
What? I think she's hot.
No, you don't, you disgusting perv.
All right, let's see. This one comes from George Mason. This sounds like a movie of the week. Transsexual killer who was moved from... Oh, sorry. Who was... Am I reading this right? Yes. Transsexual killer who was moved from a male to a female jail to await sex change surgery is moved back after having sex with her fellow inmates.
No.
Sanguine, thank you. Add, Florida Man saves Ernest. Jesus Christ.
Nice.
Oh, man, guys. All right. And saves Ernest.
So tomorrow night is all about Florida Man.
I might, at this rate, I might have to do the Florida Man thing as its own little separate video I post on my channel. Just read the ads I've written out loud as one big block.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'll do that. I'll think about that one, depending on what we do here. A transsexual murderer who was allowed to serve his sentence in a woman's prison has been moved amid claims he was having sex with female inmates.
I'm shocked.
Paris Green, 23, who was born Peter Lang but identifies as a woman, had been staying on the female wing at HMP Edinburgh. But Green, who is awaiting sex change surgery, has been transferred back to the male block amid suspicions she was involved in sexual relationships with other convicts there. It is the second time Green, who was jailed for at least 18 years for her crime, has been moved for inappropriate behavior. Second time. The first time didn't tell you enough. In 2013, just weeks after she was found guilty alongside Kevin McDonough and Dean Smith of the murder of Robert Shankland, she was transferred from Corton Vale Women's Prison near Stirling amid similar accusations. I think 2 strikes and you're out on that one. Just a thought.
That's sexist.
I maybe, or gender-ish.
If I was ever facing prison time, I would become transsexual so fast it would make your head spin.
Monkey.
I am not going to men's prison.
all them women's. Let's see. Okay, I hope this is actually true and not a put on. This comes from Raymond Lewis. Apparently, researchers just accidentally found an effective Alzheimer's treatment while trying to cure diabetes.
Diabetes.
Nice.
I really hope this is true. Thank you, Point Curation. I at least hope it was consensual. Prison rape bad. Yes.
He don't find out.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come out in the investigation.
Oh, it's going to come out in his end.
Yeah, barf. Yeah, he's going to escape using a dildo he pulled out of his ass. that is a story I now have to write.
Yes.
Developing new treatments for ailments can be a tedious and frustrating process for scientists. Oftentimes, newly developed drugs just don't work the way they were intended, falling short of expectations and leading to a dead end. But other times, a drug developed for one purpose turns out to be even more effective at treating something completely different. That appears to be exactly what is happening now with a new class of drug originally developed for the treatment of type 2 diabetes, but has recently been shown to have a drastic benefit in mice with Alzheimer's. The new drugs, which are classified as triple agonist because they work in 3 ways, was tested on mice which were developed to express genes linked to Alzheimer's. The animals were already exhibiting much of the symptoms associated with the disease, including compromised memory and difficulty learning, but showed dramatic improvement in their brain function after receiving the unique treatment. The treatment, quote, holds clear promise of being developed into a new treatment for chronic neurodegenerative disorders such as Alzheimer's disease, Professor Christian Hulscher, lead researcher of the study, explains. The research was published in Brain Research. I guess that's a journal. According to the study, the triple-acting treatment is thought to work against Alzheimer's disease by protecting nerve cells, reducing amyloid plaques in the brain, and reducing inflammation while slowing nerve cell degradation. Mice that received treatment demonstrated significant improvement in learning as well as memory formation. Well, good.
Nice.
Hope it is transferable to humans in some fashion, because given my family history, I'm probably going to get it at some point in my life. So keep working on that cure, guys. What else do we have? Okay, I'm going to read this headline because it by itself is kind of a brain fart, but okay. Signal Boost sends us this one. Why gender is key to African off-grid solar energy sales.
Well,
My brain hurts just trying to comprehend what that means. Data from Phoenix International shows why women are powerful off-grid solar customers. When I read Phoenix International, I think of the Phoenix Foundation, that thing that MacGyver worked for.
Oh, yeah.
That's just me, though, obviously, because I'm old. Okay, gender equality could have a significant impact on rural electrification moves in sub-Saharan Africa, new data suggests. Phoenix International, which sells off-grid solar kits in Uganda and Zambia, has uncovered a gender difference. Although only 20% of its kits are purchased by women, they bring in more new clients than men. So wait, this is Solar Amway?
Yes.
Oh,
It
okay.
sounds like.
So women are more personable salespeople. Shocking.
We're full of shocking stories tonight.
Yeah.
The malevolent writer has been asking
Mhm.
for us to read his story.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not that interested in female solar panels, so I will see if I can find his. Okay, I'll skip over a couple. I will come back to the ones that I'm rolling over, guys, if I can find. Are you also the malevolent? Well, you're gonna have to tell me what you're going by now because I don't see anything from you.
What it is on Twitter.
Yeah, give me a hint. What I'm looking for. In the meantime, what's this? Oh, well, this is sad.
Let's read that one.
Sure, we'll get this one out of the way. This one comes from William R. Costin. Sorry, Emperor W.R. Costin. Homeless death toll hits 70 and rattles public health committee members in Toronto. Counselor calls an average of 1.8 homeless people dying in Toronto every week an absolute failure by officials. I might agree. At least 70 homeless Torontonians have died so far this year. When was this written? Oh, okay. This was posted back on October 30th. I thought if 70 people died in the last 2 days.
Oh yeah, that would be horrible.
I was like, holy shit. Okay, but this is from October.
It has been cold.
Okay, it has been cold, but okay, this is from October. So in the 10 months in 2017, up until that point, 70 people had died. All right, not that that's a good thing. I'm just saying that it would be far more shocking if within 2 days that had happened. Thank you, Cryptic. What do you get when you cross a donkey and an onion? A piece of ass that'll bring a tear to your eye.
I like it.
Thank you, Cryptic. Jesus.
That one's SDA approved.
Yeah, the headline kind of says it all. I don't really want to go into the details. I don't want to depress myself, but yeah. So Toronto has some issues. Okay, this one comes from former womb lizard. I'm reading the Twitter handle. The avatar reminds me of somebody else, but I don't know for sure. Man charged with beating stepson to death over cookie, then forcing siblings to sleep in bed with dead body.
The fuck?
Can you imagine what part of the world this story comes from?
Florida.
You're absolutely right. A man in Florida has been charged with murdering his stepson over a cookie. Jack Jr. Montgomery, 31 of Tampa, Florida, was charged Sunday with felony first-degree murder for the killing of his 7-year-old stepson, Bryce Russell. The child's mother, Danya Shanita Russell, left the boy and her other 3 sons with Montgomery to work a double shift. While alone with the children, Montgomery repeatedly punched and kicked the 7-year-old okay, this is how they wrote it. I'm stumbling over it. I'll read it as it's written. Repeatedly punched and kicked the 7-year-old after he got out of bed to get a cookie. Quote, while she was out working, he chose to not only physically discipline this child himself by not only repeatedly punching and throwing him on the ground, but threatening bodily harm against the brothers if they did not partake and equally discipline him.
What the fuck?
Well, now I'm sad because that is fucked up.
There is a forest in Japan I would like to send this guy to.
Right?
Yeah, so that's the gist of the story. I'm not going to go any further because that's just depressing as fuck, more so than already. Okay, what else do we have? Did Malevolent specify what story he was looking for here?
Not that I saw.
Okay, sorry, Malevolent. I was reading the story. If you can tell me what story it was, I will try to find it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
Thank you, Gregory Hurst. This is the grimdark DC Florida Man. Well, yeah, that is the graphic novel Florida Man story right there.
That fucker needs to die painfully.
Okay, well, Vanity Fair has a take on the Logan Paul story, apparently.
Oh, yeah, their story is interesting.
Okay, this one comes from New Fate 26. Why Logan Paul should really worry us. All right. Not that he already doesn't really, but at least in my mind. On the last day of the year, a great disturbance rippled through the internet. Well, a certain part of the internet, the section that pays attention to the exploits of brash YouTube celebrities like Logan Paul, a 22-year-old mega vlogger who has the attention of some 15 million subscribers. On December 31st, Paul uploaded a video from his travels in Japan detailing his trek into the famous, I don't even know if I'm saying this correctly, Aokigahara suicide woods near Mount Fuji, where he found a man who had apparently recently hanged himself. Paul showed the body, with his face blurred out, and filmed his own reaction, at first stunned, and then, well, one might say, amused. It didn't go over well. By New Year's Day, criticism of Paul was widespread, and he issued the first of 2 apologies, though it came off as another crass bit of self-promotion, a fact pointed out in a stringent fashion by the Queen of the North herself, Game of Thrones actress Sophie Turner. And Sophie Turner said, "You're an idiot. You're not raising awareness. You're mocking. I can't believe how self-praising your apology is. You don't deserve the success you have. I pray to God you never have to experience anything like that man did." Wagons circled, attack mobs formed, and the internet, or again, a certain area of it, engaged in a battle of outrage and defense. You know, I'm going to save this until YouTube drama time, because there's a lot here, and I figure might as well use that for deep topic / YouTube drama time, so we can get a couple more stories in. Okay. I redid the hashtag and ads. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can find Malevolent. All right, there we go. Malevolent Writer. All right, let me take a look here. Gang of youth attacks cops. Gang of Utes, the 2 Utes. Gang of youth attacks cops near Paris. Video of assault posted online.
Oh, yeah.
A female police officer and her boss were attacked in a suburb of Paris by a group of young people who then posted videos of the attack online. The officer, who has not been named, was recorded being kicked around violently as the attackers around her whooped and screamed in the suburb of Champigny-sur-Marne. I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly. It's French, and I don't speak French. Southeast of the French capital. Her colleague was so badly hurt that, according to the Mirror, he was forced to remove his pistol from its holster, but he did not get a shot off. Investigators said the officers suffered concussions and other injuries, but their condition was not life-threatening. In the videos posted online, the youths also jumped on top of a car that had been flipped onto its roof. In the video, an unidentified woman used French street slang to say, quote, "The evening has really gone wrong. Goodness, poor copper." Okay. Police originally were called to the address where a New Year's party was taking place. A number of people had been turned away from the house, which led to fighting in the street. The officers were attacked when they arrived at the house. The footage on social media has sparked outrage across France. President Emmanuel Macron promised to bring those responsible to justice. Yeah. So I haven't seen I've heard about this video. I haven't seen it yet. So.
Yeah, I didn't watch the video. The headline's enough for me on that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty bad. What do we got here? All right, we'll end with this one because this is kind of funny. At least I hope it's funny. If it's serious, then we got problems. But Joel McLaughlin sends us this one. Fighter pilot chases UFO and urges world leaders to take the threat of aliens seriously.
Okay.
An American pilot who claims to have chased an alien aircraft has warned world leaders to take UFOs seriously. Retired U.S. Navy pilot David Fravor spoke out in support of ex-U.S. government intelligence officer Luis Elizondo, who last week revealed he ran a real-life X-Files UFO research department at the Pentagon named the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, or AATIP, funded by $22 million of black ops money from Congress. Is that true? Elizondo secured the release of previously classified U.S. Department of Defense videos of UFO encounters, one of which shows the craft Fravor saw darting off at an incredible speed. Commander Fravor, 53, was flying one of two fighter jets on a routine training mission about 100 miles into the Pacific Ocean off San Diego when they were diverted to check out an aircraft spotted on radar from their Navy cruiser, the USS Princeton. The operations operators said they had been tracking up to a dozen mystery aircraft over 2 weeks, but hadn't had manned planes deployed when they showed up. The object first appeared at 80,000 feet, then hurtled towards the sea, stopping at 20,000 feet, and hovering before dropping out of radar. When Commander Fravor arrived, he saw a white aircraft hovering 50 feet above a disturbance in the ocean. He said, quote, "It was just moving randomly around this 40-foot-long white tic-tac-looking thing with no wings. It was a clear day with a blue background, and it was perfectly white. We didn't see any windows, no form of propulsion, nothing, just a big white object." Well, it's white privilege, obviously.
Was he drug tested?
I don't know. It was rounded on both ends and had a cylindrical body which rounded in same front to back. I couldn't tell what it was made of. It was bright white, but it wasn't reflecting a bunch of light. Fravor flew towards it, and the aircraft began ascending towards him, passing him at about 12,000 feet. He thinks he got within a half mile of it. Quote, "I literally chased the thing, and it started to mirror us like it was like it became aware we were there. I cut across to see if I could get closer, and it rapidly accelerated and disappeared. Within a matter of seconds, it was gone."
Game live.
This goes on for another couple of pages. Yeah, so again, either we're being invaded by aliens or time travelers or something, or it's a Russian hacker. Or,
my bet is the Russians.
Yeah, I think it's a Russian hacker. I think the Russian, yeah.
Maybe Kim Jong-un got a hold of some alien spacecrafts.
Yeah, there you go. That's how they're able to actually function. The alien spacecraft landed in North. Ooh, yeah, there you go. Well, anyway, I think that's enough MSS news for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for sending us the stories. Sorry I didn't get to everything, but as you know, we have a format here that I am kind of totalitarian about keeping to, because I'm such a Pattern
Bastard.
monkey.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, my parents were married. Stop it. Don't say that. That's me. Anyway, YouTube time.
Still a bastard.
I didn't do anything today. I had planned on starting a video, but then at the 11th hour, so to speak, in my afternoon, work called, and I had to do work for about an hour and a half, which kind of cut into my momentum to work on a video. It's actually kind of interesting. It is a callback, in a way, to the very thing that started Monkey and I talking to each other.
Really?
Monkey, do you remember the video with the woman on Fusion talking about white fragility and how I made a video and then I commented and complimented you on your video, and then you felt apologetic that you had done a video on something that I had already done a video on?
I do remember that.
So in my feed, I'm subscribed to several things, one of which being TEDx, and wouldn't you know it, a TEDx talk was posted today that had a very familiar face. And I was like, I know her. And it's basically a 10-minute video of her humble bragging her awesomeness to the world. And there wasn't much to work on there as I was watching. I was just like, it's like she starts out by saying, I'm a professional troublemaker. I'm like, oh God. And she talked about how, oh yeah, she starts these conversations. She's the first domino in the line, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, this is just, yeah, she's just jerking herself off for 10 minutes.
Isn't she the one? Oh God, I remember her now. Because I remembered the situation, I did, but the specific video I wasn't recall. This is the oh God, I'm trying to picture her face. And sorry guys, I know this is not interesting at all, but yeah, I remember who you're talking about, and yeah, sounds like something she would do. She was kind of a condescending cunt to begin with.
Well, the real meat of it gets into it about 8 minutes in or so, or 6 minutes in. And so when I inevitably do this video, it's going to be sort of intercutting between the first video I did of her stuff and this one, and taking out a good chunk of the new one, because it's just her talking about how she went skydiving once and faced her fear, and went ziplining once and faced her fear, and how much of a hero she is. She says that the big meat of this is that she was invited to go to a conference of authors or something, and how the conference had a policy of not funding speakers' travel or stay or anything else. They offered the invitation, they offered the platform to speak and to self-advertise or otherwise, but did not do any reimbursement. And so she investigated to find out if this was true, and she said that apparently they didn't pay any black people, but the white people that attended the conference, they did reimburse. And as I heard that, I thought, are you kidding me? Is that true? Is that actually? Of course it's not. I looked it up, and it's absolute bullshit. And so I was going to just do a little thing of having her make that claim, and then going to the actual article that was written by a journalist at Forbes who looked into it. And it's like with a lot of things. There's a seed of truth to some of what she said, but it's absolute nonsense otherwise. And of course, she ends this talk with the exact same mantra she used in the first video that we did, where she says, like, when I say something, I want to make sure if I say it, I can back it up, and that I say it with love, and that I mean it. I'm like, okay, well, can you back this up? No. Anyway, so that's what I'm working on, or I meant to start working on. I'll probably start working on it tomorrow. I hope to have it out before the end of the week. I've been kind of stalled here and there with other stuff, but there's my stuff. SDA, what are you up to?
I didn't do anything today, but I will probably make a video tomorrow. I was thinking about doing something on the Logan Paul stuff, but I don't know what to say other than, like, it's weird to film somebody's recently suicided body. End video. So I don't know. I might do a video on it. I might not. I have no idea. I haven't decided. I also kind of want to know more about the situation, because some people are saying that the video is fake, all this kind of shit. And I don't know if that's true. I haven't actually watched the original video. Can you watch the original video?
It's been mirrored in other places by now, because it was up for like over a day before Paul took it down. So yeah, you can still find it in places if you look for it. just not on his
Okay.
channel.
I
Monkey.
mean,
Oh, sorry.
I guess. Oh, sorry. I just had this thought. I guess in the same vein as that, it is odd the way that YouTube treated it. I would
think
say.
that, yeah, I think that's the bigger story here. And some people have already obviously commented on the fact that a video essentially exploiting someone's suicide on camera, okay, not for monetization, but let's be honest here, self-promotion is monetization, no matter how you look at it. And not, I mean, the creator took it down, not YouTube.
Well, it's
Yeah,
even weirder than
somehow.
that.
What?
Even weirder than that, because there's a guy on Twitter. His handle is Ben. He's actually one of the YouTube heroes. He's not actually a hero. I forget what he does, but he works with YouTube. When that idiot was trying to dox me, he helped get that taken care of. He put out a tweet today pointing out that while Logan Paul had to take down his own video, people mirroring this video are getting their videos struck.
Right.
Like as copyright?
No, for content.
Community guidelines and stuff like that.
Okay, well, see, that's crazy that's getting. Why didn't his video get? I mean, we know why.
15 million subscribers.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, that's the big story here is the fact that YouTube doesn't give a fuck about a creator unless they're of millions of subscribers, and then once you have millions of subscribers, apparently that's just a green light to do whatever the fuck you want, and you don't have to play by the same rules as everybody else, which is a bunch of bullshit, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm pretty. I'd be surprised if the Vanity Fair thing that I'll get back to in a few minutes doesn't.
Yeah. So I might bitch about YouTube.
Yeah.
I might.
I think that's, like I say, I think that's the bigger story here. I mean, whether Logan Paul is just a self-promoting airhead who lucked out. It's one of those things where it's like, like React channels have more subscribers than people that actually put work into their content. It's just one of those things.
Well, I mean, you could say that about us. Like,
I put work into my content.
I know, but like you're reacting to a video.
Well, but I mean, I edit and I script and I don't just sit in front of a camera and just like make googly faces and anyway. Thank you, Point Curation. Jimmy Kimmel, was that the crying guy? What? I'm missing something.
Well, I know Jimmy Kimmel cried a lot, but
yeah, he cried about his son, which I'm not going to fault him for. But
well, he cried about other stuff too.
Oh, did he? This is how much I pay attention to Jimmy Kimmel. Otherwise,
he cried about the Las Vegas shooting.
Oh, sure.
I forget what else. He's cried about a couple of things.
Yeah, I mean,
sensitive man.
Yeah, that's. I mean, Las Vegas and your sick son. I'm not going to fault somebody for getting emotional about that kind of stuff, honestly. So, yeah. As a monkey, are you working on anything?
No, I was actually thinking of taking a crack at the Logan Paul thing too, but more from the Vanity Fair angle.
Oh, okay.
Which we'll get into.
Point Curation clarifies the Las Vegas video was monetized. Right. So many other people were being demonetized for talking about the news and violent actions and everything else, and Jimmy Kimmel got money for it. That's right. Thank you, Point. I forgot about that.
Well, the reason why is that Jimmy Kimmel actually has like contracts with advertisers. Like he has a contract with BMW. So even if YouTube wouldn't find that content advertiser friendly, Jimmy Kimmel gets fucking and YouTube get fucking ad money because they've decided that, hey, if you're Jimmy Kimmel, you get to talk about whatever the fuck you want. And it's really irritating, and I'm sure you guys feel this too, that certain people get special treatment for no other reason than they have more subscribers. And I think it's bullshit.
Well, if he has actual contracts with companies that'll put their ads on there despite YouTube's guidelines, that's
no, but YouTube is still getting the money from those advertisers.
True.
Here's the difference. If he has to put his own ads on there, say like how Bering has sponsors and he does an ad for them, that's one thing.
Okay.
If it's still monetized through YouTube in the way that we couldn't, that's fucked up.
It is because that's how they're doing it. So Google is getting money from him when we're talking about the same shit, but we don't get to be monetized because reasons. And it's stupid. It's like, so BMW doesn't give a fuck if I'm using BMW. Just, I'm throwing out a company. I'm not actually trying to slander BMW, but they don't, they don't give a fuck about talking about, terrorist attacks as long as it's freaking Jimmy Kimmel. But,
well, it's not
talking about it. That's a different story.
There was that one guy who, I forget his name. He's some weaselly looking dude. But he had made a video about how advertisers specifically requested to be on his channel and weren't showing up. So, and YouTube just seems to be really weird about how they're handling this, and they should start answering questions because it's looking really bad.
Yeah, they're very tight-lipped about it all, and especially with the Logan Paul thing. And like I said, this is probably the angle that I'm going to come at it if I make a video about it. Because is it fucked up that he possibly filmed that? Yeah, it's fucked up. That's weird. But what's really weird, like we've talked about, is the fact that that video gets flagged on other people's channel, and Logan Paul had to manually take his down. What?
Well, YouTube has also lied to CNN about this, or CNN just got their story wrong because they reported that YouTube took down Logan Paul's video.
But everybody knows that that's not what. I mean, Logan Paul said that he took down his own video.
Yeah.
And you know what? Okay, another thing. Maybe this is YouTube drama stuff, but I just want to bitch about it here because this sort of ties into what we were talking about last night. Because Logan Paul said, "I've made a mistake," in his stupid fucking Twitter apology. And here's the thing, okay? Stepping on somebody's toes when you don't mean to, that's a mistake. Spilling milk is a mistake, unless you meant to. But like, if you accidentally, that's a mistake, okay? Tripping over a pothole is a mistake. Filming a dead body, editing it, and uploading it to YouTube is not a fucking mistake. That's just a thing you did.
It's a dumb thing you did. I think you can still call it a mistake as long as you actually believe that, and it's not just covering your ass, which I totally think it is with this kid.
Well, it's kind of like with the Kilroy, not the Kilroy stuff, but the the server thing where everybody's like doing all this RP bullshit, and they have like operations and stuff, and then people are like, "It was a mistake. I shouldn't have done." It's like, that's not a mistake. You knew what you were doing.
Maybe.
Thank you, Gregory Hurst. CNN got a story wrong. Head explodes.
Yeah, but in this case, it looks like they actually had a bad source rather than just pulling it right out of their ass.
Okay, well, since we're just basically on YouTube drama at this point.
I'm sorry. All of this annoys me.
Okay. So I'll, not having read the rest of this Vanity Fair article and only knowing the cursory stuff about this, just from a, again, completely devil's advocate angle of things, is it possible to extend the benefit of the doubt that, as dumb as it was, Logan Paul meant well?
No, it's Logan fucking Paul.
No. Hold on. Okay, why?
Because
just the nature of the video, the jovial. If you're making a video about, say, suicide awareness, which would be the only angle to come at like this, laughing about it is not part of that equation. That's
kind of like, okay, if I were to be trying to raise like hurricane awareness and I came at it from the angle of, oh my God, look how much fun it is to like, look what my umbrella does in hurricanes. Isn't that funny? It's like, nah, I don't know.
Just to clarify, I'm not taking that position. I'm just, for the sake of argument, just asking, like, Logan Paul is an admittedly dumbly lucky individual, let's say, famous for being famous, etc. What little I did watch, I didn't actually watch the video all the way to the point of him showing the body. Okay, I only saw the first minute or so where he starts out by saying like, this is a very serious thing, and I just want to put this out there. I think he said something to the effect of, I want to put it out there so people are aware and just raise awareness, etc. So like I say, I understand I'm probably completely wrong in that his introduction to the video was filmed after he did the actual thing, so they don't necessarily go alongside one another. But I always at least want to entertain the notion that, as dumb as it was not done with ill intent, let's say. But I'm getting that it's probably not the case, at least as far as people who've watched it is concerned.
I mean, I don't know that it's necessarily ill intent. I mean, he might just be a brain dead fucking moron. Like, that's definitely possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's more my thing. He may have decided to upload it thinking he was doing that. I have trouble believing that, though. Not with the way they approach that body. No.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't actually seen. Full disclosure, I haven't actually seen the video of him walking up to the body. I just wasn't particularly interested. It's like I saw the thumbnail and I kind of got the gist. I was like, that's not wise.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Hey, dude, you did, bro?
Oh, did he? He didn't say that, did he?
That's a paraphrased quote.
Oh, okay. Well,
you did? Go fuck yourself.
Well, let me.
I'm sorry. I'm a horrible person, but it would have been funny if like the guy had just woken up and been like, "No, you fucking idiot." I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay, so before I get back to the Vanity Fair thing, the other YouTube drama that happened just shortly before the stream started was the channel The Quartering, who has been going all over the place on the Magic the Gathering scandal. His channel was terminated.
Oh.
Now, I believe for content violations or something. I don't know all the details. I'm not sure that even, of course, as usual, YouTube has actually given the details. But thank you, Soraya Thorndike. I'm saying that correctly. I feel like it's a generation thing because I saw girls taking selfies in the Holocaust Museum.
I'm not willing to say that it's a generational thing. Sorry. But most decent people know not to take selfies in the Holocaust Museum. I mean, it's definitely possible that you have a couple of brain dead idiots in the same generation for sure. But yeah, I don't know. That's not a generational thing. As if like previous generations didn't have brain dead idiots.
Well, we also didn't have access to cell phones, so I can give it to you on the Holocaust Museum thing. I know kids that I went to high school probably would have done stupid shit like that. Filming yourself with a dead body and uploading it with the body in the fucking thumbnail? No, that's not generational. That's a sick human being.
Yeah, that's just fucked up.
Cryptic, thank you. What crime did the tree commit? Treason. Har. Har. Har.
That's funny.
But yeah, so the Quartering thing is just still sort of in flux. It's in process right now as far as a story. I don't have all the details right now. I don't know what supposedly the content was that got his channel terminated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was a copyright claim or something else that made it happen, but I'm sure we'll cover more of it tomorrow night when more information comes out, or at least more speculation is apparent.
I told you off stream when you first told me about this, because I hadn't heard about it yet. I'm honestly not surprised. Not because I think the Quartering did anything wrong, or that I think he should be taken down, but when you go after a community the way he has, and I think justifiably so, he's gone after them. You're going to get their ardent fanboys who are going to do whatever they can to fuck with you, and that's a sad reality, and YouTube falls for it more often than not.
Thank you, Point Curation. Did you hear the one about the mad baker? He was like the mad scientists, but his creations were cruller. Oh.
I see what you did there.
Har, har, har. Thank you, Point. So should I keep reading the Vanity Fair thing, or do we want to move on to a different deep topic or something?
Read the Vanity. There is an interesting angle in there, and if you don't want to cover it.
Okay. Let's see. We talked about that. All right. So I'm starting kind of in the middle again. So anyway. And his fans, the Low Gang, as Paul calls them, entrench themselves in loyal service to their pranking, stunting, bragging hero. It's a familiar narrative, Though a particularly egregious example of witless YouTube content, Paul's video still seems likely to be only a minor and soon forgotten bump on the way to whatever YouTube singularity we're headed toward. It almost feels like a waste of time then to get angry at Paul's video in particular. Yes, it's awful and exploitative and is a sterling example of what makes Paul and his younger but equally odious brother Jake Paul so distressing. But Paul is really just a symptom of a larger problem, one that we'll have to reckon with soon enough, or really probably should be already. Are bros taking over the internet? ? Well, watching any of the Paul brothers' videos, you might be inclined to think that. But there are also those Nazi dweebs and men's rights toads racking up views and swaying people to their terrible causes, and I wouldn't exactly call them bros. We should still resist.
Sorry, what the fuck? What, are they for realsy pants right now?
I'm reading it as it's written. We should still resist most bro culture where we can, absolutely, but it's only one head of the Hydra. What's really a problem is something a bit more intangible, more ineffable. It's the sense that YouTube has created not just its own economy, but a kind of ethical relativism that, even in the intense glare of mass criticism like Paul got yesterday, seems almost invincible to any outside influence. That's probably hyperbole, but look at Logan Paul's second apology video posted today. And then they give a link to the second apology video. Thank you, Point. Quartering made a video suggesting people to reply to Wizards of the Coast official Twitter asking about the peso thing, sort of. Oh, so we did a call to action kind of thing?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I did.
Okay. Hey, Monkey.
Yep.
If you do a video on this about the Vanity Fair thing, can you at least just have a clip of me calling these people window licking retards?
I will try to remember, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Jordan250. What did the dog say when he sat on sandpaper? Rough. Okay. Paul seems teary and contrite, and probably in some senses he genuinely is, but there's more than a glimmer of inauthenticity here, just as there was in his first apology. That may simply be because Logan Paul is an egomaniac post-adolescent who doesn't yet have a sense of anything beyond his own nose. But it also shows that the larger and more ardent one's legion of supporters grows, a self-selecting horde that will not brook criticism of their idol in any form, the less and less external condemnation or any kind of moral urging really matters. Sure, almighty brands could back away, but they haven't been terribly principled about that in the past, and anyway, people like the Pauls are creating their own revenue streams that seem more self-sustaining and less reliant on cozy big-name partnerships. Yes, I believe this is called moral hazard. If someone doesn't have to deal with the consequences of their actions, they don't really have an incentive not to keep doing them. That was Scribe-like commentary. What will really get to the Paul brothers is plain old time. Their fans are devoted, but they're young. While I've no doubt some of them will stick with the boys as they age together and new fans will be brought into the fold, an arc like this is rarely a long one. Strains of popular obnoxiousness beloved by teens never really thrive very long in any one form. So if we are specifically worried about Logan and Jake Paul and their empire of shit, I think we can relax a little. What should remain troubling is that they will be replaced, and quite likely by more and worse. YouTube culture, perhaps social media in general, exists in a state of entropy. Gamergate gave way to the alt-right. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Right? I know.
Gamergate gave way to the alt-right, just as whatever you want to call those fratty white boys aping jackass and appropriating dated hip-hop poses will probably lead to some other horror. Because there hasn't actually been much done to guide or frankly police YouTube by anyone who might have once had the power to do so, other than the creators themselves, which of course was the egalitarian dream of the platform, one that once sounded nice as some utopian earlier internet ideal. But just as
ridiculous. Oh my God.
But just as Twitter has shown in its descent from a forum for amusing one-liners to a hellish bog of harassment and Nazism, Jesus. When left nearly entirely to its own devices, the central spirit of the internet hive mind, its great howling id, tends towards darkness.
Yeah.
Darkness.
Dun, dun, dun.
That may be beyond anyone's control, really. Sure, Twitter could do more to, say, not verify Nazis. But beyond that, there is something alarmingly impenetrable about these thriving, metastasizing cult communities. Okay. All right. Hand-wringing think pieces may shift or rouse the discourse for those on the outside of it all, but they likely won't reach the hearts and minds of those immersed and intoxicated. Or at best, it will all sound like Charlie Brown's teacher honking away in vague tones that communicate nothing but an atomized distance. More fuel is thrown onto the self-contained fire every day, with young audiences receiving their inculcation while parents and guardians figure it all unknowable but harmless. I'll say that this writer does have a flair for the.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. If you don't, I think there's still quite a bit to the article left, isn't there?
There's 2 paragraphs.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll just finish up. Every time there is some hue and cry about something like Logan Paul callously filming a dead man hanging from a tree, it's a pushback that seems totally ineffectual and ignorant of the scope of what is actually happening with YouTube, which is viewed by many, many young people in a way that is more obsessive and more internalized than probably anything any of us experienced in our own youths. And it has a deviously effective defense system built right in. All that internality suggests that anyone who criticizes it simply doesn't understand, reifying that sense of belonging for both creator and fan and pushing everything else further away. Of course, we've seen versions of that same mechanism before. In my teen years, for example, anyone who didn't like Rent was a real square, or quite possibly a homophobe. Oh, well, there's really only 2 options. There's really only 2 kind of people in the world, people who like Twizzlers and people who like red vines. And the people who like Twizzlers are just fucking wrong. All right, bye, mate.
If you don't like Rent, you don't like fags.
You're either with us or against us. But Rent was less totalicizing. It wasn't immediately and constantly available in ever-increasing permutations. Well, my sister had the soundtrack and played it all the time, so for me, it was. Rent, or the Beatles, or Pokemon, or whatever, were much easier to put into perspective and to grow out of. Well, I know some people who are still nuts about the Beatles, so because they were single, fixed entities. So are the Paul brothers and their ilk, who will eventually fade from prominence, same as all things, but they are only products of a large and looming factory, one that's the true subject of all this insulated, recursive devotion. And that's what should probably worry us. The discrete idiots may come and go, but the idiot machine will keep churning, loud and autonomous and impervious enough to drown out everything else until it's all there is. This sounds like something I would have read in the 50s about just television.
Read Gregory Hurst.
Thank you, Gregory Hurst. My God, this writer sounds like they're going to be found in a Japanese forest soon.
Well played, sir. Well played.
This sounds like honest, and to be completely serious, if you just replace YouTube with television or rock music or whatever, this sounds like just a moral panic think piece.
Well, that's one of the things that really struck me about this piece. And guys, I am not defending Logan Paul here. I'm really not. And fuck that guy. I love how they make it sound like people not having gatekeepers is a bad thing. There's nobody to keep a check on this.
Thank you, Point Curison. The biased media machine keeps churning too. Well, yeah, that's the other thing too, is that, how is this any different than the CNN fans or Fox News fans or people who are going to defend MSNBC to the ends of time? It might be a bit more, like they say, singular in that, like, you defend your news network like you do a sports team.
Well, there's an underlying theme in this article that if you paid attention to the adpocalypse, you saw it there too. This is a writer who doesn't like the fact that people can just go out there now and say what they want to say. I had a lot of arguments about this with people around the adpocalypse because journalists, it used to be you had to go to school and then you'd get hired by a newspaper, and then maybe you'd become a household name if you got into your 90s and were still writing a column. These days, for all intents and purposes with the youth right now, Logan Paul is bigger than any news celebrity was for my generation, at least.
Oh, by leaps and bounds. If you want to talk about just like pure reach and numbers, Logan Paul by himself is bigger than any television network at any time in history to this moment.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, a single television network would literally kill to have an audience of 15 million at any moment of the day,
Yeah.
for crying out loud. So
They might get it for their top show, but like their afternoon, nobody watched. So,
right.
But these people who came up still under the traditional sense of media have a real hatred for people being able to, in this case, go out and make your own mistakes publicly.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating to me that they're so hateful towards it, because you can make the comparisons to say rock music or television when it first started, or even to some extent video games, but the just hatred from the news media part of it seems new to me.
Well, I can understand it, because if you think about, okay, what is the epitome of let's just take journalism in general. In the last generation or so, what was the epitome of journalistic success? I would say your hallmark incident was probably Watergate, right? Woodward and Bernstein. You know,
Yeah,
everybody and their brother would love to be the next Woodward and Bernstein. And, you know, to their credit, Woodward and Bernstein did the work to earn their place in history. They did the shoe leather, they did the research and everything else. I mean, All the President's Men is a really great movie. It only sort of like, you know, very condenses a larger story. But then you get a guy like Logan Paul, who has produced nothing, who has not worked in any way, shape, or form that would be qualified by an adult in this day and age, or elsewise, a day in his life.
Wait, wasn't he no, his brother was a Disney star. Was he one?
I have no idea. And this is the thing. I don't know. I don't know I did not know this guy existed, honestly, until about 6 months ago, when he came up because of whatever his last big controversy was.
That was his brother.
Yeah, well, either way, I never heard of either one of them. And but that by that point, they'd already had 10, 15, 20 million subscribers or whatever. You can gain fame, success, celebrity, and everything else without earning it, at least by any tangible measure of what we classically consider earning it and merit. And yes, that's the market, that's the technology, that's what fandom is based around. And yes, you know, people who grew up in a time where fame and success and everything else was supposed to be a consequence of, in general, not always, obviously, you know, sometimes idiots luck out, but in general, it was supposed to be a consequence of actual effort in producing something. So I can understand the frustration and the hate and maybe the jealousy. It doesn't mean it's going to change anything.
See, I have a problem with that, because one, I absolutely agree with you. For me, the moment I realized society was just shit was when the Kardashians became a big thing. I mean, these literally famous because the chick leaked her own sex tape.
Yeah.
And then they got a TV show. Yay. And then whores everywhere started watching television. But there's still something to be said. If you go back and you look, I mean, what is it that made any celebrity famous? It was a lucky break. And there's tons of actors who've worked their whole lives. You've never heard their name unless you happen to catch their one-man show, and they're good actors. So there's always been an aspect of luck to it. And what these people seem to be more concerned with than even, you know, these guys didn't earn it, is that there's no gatekeepers. That's the part that keeps bugging me, is because I saw this in if you delve anywhere into writing, if you're thinking about making a book, you hear the term gatekeeper over and over and over again, because publishers were always the gatekeepers. Amazon changed that with the ability to self-publish, and it drove the publishing world insane, to the point that they just dogged Amazon everywhere. The idea that there has to be somebody who says this content is okay for the public. As much as I think Logan Paul's a piece of shit, I think it's fine for whoever wants to throw their voice out there. And if they get lucky enough to get famous, good on them.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's a hard fall too. And I think he's taking one right now. So that sucks for him, but fuck.
Thank you, Cryptic. Kim K is famous for avoiding non-black dicks. The one exception I will say, as far as the gatekeeper thing, is the editors at fucking CNN. If you're going to call yourself a journalistic outlet, you need to have an editor that checks shit before it goes out. I'll just say that is the one instance where, you're going to have a gatekeeper to what gets produced in the realm of free speech and everything else. When you call yourself a journalist, I should say a journalistic institution. I mean, freelance journalists doing, Woodward and Bernstein on their own, more power to them and everything else. But if you're going to call yourself a news organization, you have to have effective editors. Anyway, I don't disagree with you. Sorry.
That's good. Yeah, I do have one more point before we move on, though.
Yeah.
He did mention in there, whoever wrote this shit, about audiences that are just loyal to a fault. The insulated audience. They mentioned it early on in the article, and I do agree with that. Especially online, you have people who, people defending Logan Paul for putting this stupid shit out there. There's really no defense of this shit. Just say, yeah, he fucked up and move on with your time. Having kicked a few really rabid fan bases right in the face, I've experienced this, and with the Sargon thing, I still think he was wrong for the way he basically turned his back on his own stated free speech convictions. But saying that, I mean, just brought so many people like, you just don't understand. Like, no, I do understand. I'm just, if somebody messes up, no matter whether they're your friend or not, you don't have to call them out publicly, but you don't also have to defend them for stupid shit that they've done.
Yeah, echo chambers are not just for politics. Echo chambers can be around anything that has a loyalty to it, like thou shalt not speak ill of Harry Potter or something. I mean, I've known people, and I melodramatize a lot of my sort of offense, like how dare you not have seen The Rock or something, that kind of thing. Because I've grown up with people who were that sensitive about their sports team or about their bands or whatever else. And I just think it's ridiculous. I mean, I have my own personal sacred cows, let's say, but I understand that they're mine. They don't need to be anybody else's.
Yeah.
I think The Shield is the best TV show ever made. Okay. You say it's not, you're stupid. But, I'm not going to hold it against you. Okay. Anyway.
Evil Gunny says, famous for the vapid, shallow people that crave attention for who they are, not for what they've done. I don't think that's necessarily true either. There's nothing wrong you can want attention for what you've done.
Cryptic, thank you. 90s TV was way better. Family Matters with Steve Urkel, Boy Meets World, Fresh Prince, Sister Sister. Yeah, I'm having an old man moment. Sister Sister, really?
Really?
I mean, Family Matters, I can, to an extent, because honestly, it got really stupid there when it became the Steve Urkel show after a while. Fresh Prince was almost always really good.
The first 2 seasons were okay.
First 2 seasons, and then the running gag started to wear thin. Boy Meets World, honestly, I never watched Boy Meets World. I hear it was good. People tell me it was good. I never watched it. And Sister Sister, that the twin gimmick. It's like, okay, you had what was that show? But they're cousins, identical cousins.
I can't remember. Duke Show.
Patty Duke Show. Yeah, the Patty Duke Show was the only show that did twins correctly, as far as I'm concerned.
And it wasn't even twins.
And it wasn't even twins. They were cousins, just identical cousins. But that was twins.
Played by one person.
Played by one person. Sister Sister was actual twins. So there you go.
I love this. Sister Sister. Wait. Sister Sister. Geez, you old man. Yeah. Talk to me about Family Ties.
Family Ties, hell, Ozzy and Harriet, or anything else I watched on Nick at Night. Family Ties was good.
Old?
Wait. Huh? Family Ties was good, but I saw that live. You saw it on Nick at Night?
No, I didn't know. I'm talking about any show on Nick at Night, not Family Ties. You saw it live? You were in the audience? Holy shit, dude.
No, I was, when it was first run, I was in the audience at home.
Yeah, the greatest role Michael Gross has ever had short of Tremors.
Yes.
Because Tremors was awesome. And I hear they're going to do another TV show or something of it, and Kevin Bacon's going to make a cameo or something. So I'm kind of excited for that, honestly.
Did Sister Sister make you old?
Yes.
Ish, yeah.
Why? But it was a show that I watched growing up.
Start looking for them gray hairs.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no.
Well, on that note, guys, we are at the bottom of the hour and the chat time. So, guys, for the next half hour, it is your time to talk at us about memories from 90s television or your thoughts on Logan Paul or anything else that comes to mind, because God knows we'll probably read it.
I'm glad we finally got to pop culture references. I understand.
Hellraiser, Zalon 10, The A-Team, and The Dukes of Hazzard buys.
Oh, loved them both.
A-Team was awesome. I didn't watch The Dukes of Hazzard that much. I didn't hate it or anything. I just didn't get that into it. But The A-Team was my favorite. I loved it.
I liked the Dukes of Hazzard until they brought in the other cousins over contractual contract disputes, put it that way. They did the same thing on Chips. They got rid of John for a while because he was mad that Ponch got bigger than him, and they brought in another white dude.
Jack Cochran says, what was better, Monkey, Silver Spoons or Family Ties? Well, I know what my answer would be.
Family Ties was a better show, but Silver Spoons had Aaron Gray on it.
Yeah.
So, toss up.
Aaron Gray and Buck Rogers in that outfit.
Oh, God.
And back in the day, that was something else. Cody Fry.
I would sniff the crotch of those pants.
Who is your favorite RPG character, says Cody Fry to all of us.
I don't know.
HK-47 from KOTOR. That's the first one that comes to mind. I don't know if that's my favorite of all time. That's the first one that jumps to mind as like one that I really liked.
Probably the alien dude. I forget his name. Starts with a G from Mass Effect. Fuck. I forget his name.
Let's see. Jack Cochran says, I watched BJ and the Bear, but no one actually gave a BJ to BJ. Well, yeah, because it was a family show. Your boy Pat
Bear
says,
was a monkey.
Your boy Pat says, The Highwayman and V the series. Do you mean The Hitchhiker?
No, The Highwayman. Or
Highwayman.
Probably Highwayman with the
I don't know what that is, or I don't remember.
Yeah.
Do you remember The Hitchhiker, the sort of like anthology Twilight Zone-ish series?
Oh,
It was on USA, because USA was great.
Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, Garrett. Garrett was his name.
Let's see. Adrian Blom says, I loved Airwolf and Knight Raider. Airwolf, I know. You mean Knight Rider?
Knight Rider.
Yeah, Knight Rider. And Knight Rider needs a K at the top there. Scott McGinnis, Scribe Light Ranting Monkey, have you seen Masters of the Universe starring Dolph Lundgren? Of course I have.
Yeah.
I loved He-Man when I was a kid. I had all the toys and stuff. Hellraiser says, what is your guys' favorite Star Wars game? To this point, KOTOR. Overall, KOTOR.
Yeah, probably Knights of the Old Republic. Shadows of the Empire was really good too.
Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2 was really good at the time. And it's still fundamentally it's still really good. It's probably, I think it's probably better than Jedi Outcast, honestly, as an overall game and storyline, especially with the live action cutscenes in there. They're cheese now, but they were cool then. Let's see. Evil Gunny says Soap and Archie Bunker.
Oh wow, yeah, good.
Yeah, I remember.
I was never a big
fan. So go ahead.
Oh, that's all.
Okay. Malevolent Rider says Knight Rider is my cousin. Har har. Irate Prostate Battlestar, the original Battlestar Galactica with Lauren Green. That show was something else at the time, but it was so trying to be Star Wars that I didn't really get into it as a kid. The new Battlestar I got into just because it was at least until season 3, because that's when we found out the Cylons did not have a plan. Thank you, Gregory Hurst. MST3K, I got my gamer tag Zap Rousdower 89 from it. Is that from Space Mutiny? if I'm right about that, reference, I'm a total and absolute nerd. Let's see. Iron Press is All in the Family. Yes, All in the Family was good. Mama's Family, says Terracin. Mama's Family was hilarious. A little known Carol Burnett sort of inspired show that nobody remembers. Did you ever watch the Carol Burnett show?
Yeah, and I watch Mama's Family too.
Yeah.
I like Mama's Family.
Comments in Space. Scribe, would a Sliders reboot work? If
Depends on how they did it.
Yeah, if they stuck to the first season's idea of literally every episode coming up with a new alternate history, alternate thing, because by like season 3 or something, they went off into La La Land with just like bullshit. But of course, the budget has dropped, and they got, yeah. So I like the first couple episodes where it's like they slid to a dimension where the Nazis had won World War II. There was one where penicillin had never been invented, and the world was dying of a plague. That kind of stuff. That kind of stuff was kind of cool.
Ranting Monkey, whose life makes you the most sad? Oh. If we're not being honest about being sad with the joking aspect of it, Lena Dunham, genetics wasn't kind to her, and she doesn't help herself at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's definitely among the saddest, and the saddest I can think of at the moment.
Judge Death says Space 1999. Oh my God. I hear about that much. Cody Fry says, I think KOTOR 2 deserves more than just a meh. The restored version of KOTOR 2 with the restoration patch and everything is a much better game. But even with that, the cracks in the thing as a result of them rushing it to market are still visible. It's still a great game. And honestly, the underlying philosophy of the Gray Jedi and Kreia in that whole thing is excellent. I mean, just excellent how she deals with philosophizing on the Force and all is just an amazing thing. So just for that alone, KOTOR 2 deserves a lot of credit.
I think KOTOR 2 was a lot more playable.
Okay.
Story-wise, KOTOR 1 was better. It was far more linear. I mean, they're both pretty linear games, but I hated how KOTOR, the original, made you run back and forth and back and forth. They didn't even like group quests together. It was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, you had like not all your party is here or something, and they got rid of that in KOTOR 2. Honestly, they should have patched that out in KOTOR 1 early on, but whatever. But yeah, just the aesthetic and the storytelling of KOTOR 1 was just, it's so good. And honestly, I when I played it, I did not see the twist coming. I did not see it coming from a mile away. I was so blown away. It was one of the best twist reveals I'd ever, in film or otherwise. KOTOR 1 just was great. Scribbles, SDA, and Ranting Monkey, would you rather get a drink with Skeletor or Mumra?
Skeletor.
Skeletor probably has better stories about Eternia and Randor. That's how much of a nerd I am. I can say that. SDA, do you know who Skeletor and Mumra were?
I know Skeletor is a shake weight meme.
I'm sorry, what?
Skeletor is a shake weight meme.
Okay.
Mumra was the bad guy in Thundercats.
Thunder. Thundercats. I never really liked Thundercats. I thought it was kind of gay.
I wasn't into Thundercats nearly as much as He-Man or Mask or G.I. Joe. Mask was great. Oh, I love Mask.
Mask was good, yeah.
I like Mask a lot. Let's see. Scott McGinnis says, what is our favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? Oh, obviously Junior.
Junior, Jesus Christ. This is, in all honesty, probably Twins.
Yeah, that showed his range a bit, didn't it?
It did, and it's actually one of the few you can tell he tried acting in.
Who was it that just asked? Somebody, I missed it. It's skipped by. Oh, there it is. Make Your Obstrogin says Hercules or Xena. Xena, because of Xena's partner in crime, Renee. What's her name? Oh,
thank you.
Oh,
the only reason to watch that show was the cute little blonde she ran around with.
Yeah, and just like the skirts they wore. It just the jumping around. I mean, Lucy Lawless. I'm just starting to watch Ash versus Evil Dead on Netflix. Lucy Lawless is a fucking vampire. She has not aged a goddamn day. In 20 years, she looks exactly the same. I was like, damn, she still looks good. Wow.
Oh, see, now I'm gonna feel bad because Xena looks like a dude to me. Xena looks like a trap. That's all I'm saying.
Well, okay. What was was it Gabrielle? Yeah, Gabrielle. Gabrielle, the partner. No, she was hot. Lucy Lawless wasn't bad looking either, in my opinion. I didn't like her nearly as much as Gabrielle, but I don't have a problem with Lucy
Gabrielle
Lawless.
was awesome.
Yeah, she was. Oh, and Aphrodite. Whoever played Aphrodite in both those shows. Oh, oh man, those were the days. Stargaze Knight says Renee O'Connor. That's what it was. I knew it was Renee something. I can't remember what her last name was.
That's Stargates are nuts.
So my apologies. Your boy Pat reminds us that Highway to Heaven is on Netflix. Oh, John Landis. Jeez. Oh God, Little House on the Prairie and Highway to Heaven. He was one of those guys that was like scandalous celebrity, sort of like John Denver. There's one or Three's Company. Why I can't remember his name all of a sudden.
John Ritter.
John Ritter, yes. John Ritter, John Landis. These guys had like no scandals to their names whatsoever, basically.
There's a show that'll never be made again.
What's that?
Guy pretends to be gay to live with 2 women.
Oh, Three's Company was great.
That was such a great show.
Jack Tripper. Oh, so good.
Dumb as and Larry, his upstairs neighbor.
Oh, and Don Knotts. Oh God, it was great.
Okay, here's an eternal battle: Mr. Furley or Mr. Roper. Which one's better? I go with Mr. Furley. I liked Mr. Roper and especially Mrs. Roper, but
Mr. Furley was great.
Don Knotts.
Don Knotts stole it.
Yeah.
I mean, and Don Knotts is one of those like born comedians. He was just funny, and obviously he was blessed with a completely ridiculous face, but he was able to leverage that into just such memorable characters. Yeah, Furley definitely.
Did you watch the spin-off Tues a Crowd? Yes, I did.
No, I remember the title. I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, it had Janet Dubois, or not, her name's not Janet Dubois. What was her name?
I don't know. Let's see. Don Knotts stole every show he was in. Even Matlock. When he showed up in Matlock with Andy Griffith, he was great.
I loved Matlock.
Matlock! Evil Gunny says Laverne and Shirley. That or Bosom Buddies. You like Bosom Buddies?
Oh, I love Bosom Buddies.
Bosom Buddies was great. Another show that would never be made today. Cross-dressing guys just trying to get a cheaper apartment kind of thing. Oh God! And what was the other guy's name? The guy who didn't go anywhere. It was because Tom Hanks and I want to say his last name was like Scarborough or something, or Scarsdale.
Something like that. He did a little more TV and stuff.
He did, but he didn't. Yeah, he didn't nearly take off.
Wasn't he on Newhart?
He could have been. Daryl. Let's see. Communist in Space. Do you watch The League of Gentlemen and Inside Number 9? No. Let's see. Jack Cochran says Don Knotts buried that ugly mug in lots of poon.
He did.
God damn. Bosom Buddies, that's called college now, says Jack Cochran. Oh God. You're half right.
Do you think there's any starlets out there that fuck Don Knotts just to get ahead?
Just to get his head? Maybe.
No, to get ahead in the business.
Oh, I don't know. That is a Harvey Weinstein scandal I'm waiting to erupt. Like sexual harassment from the dead who can't defend themselves. Let's see. Renting Monkey and Scribe Light. Is Dolph Lundgren the Swedish version of Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I don't know. Sure.
I don't know. But I tell you what, that guy has never stopped working. He has done movies that have been so bad and then done big blockbuster stuff like Johnny Mnemonic or, The Expendables and stuff. He's a guy who never stops working. I got a lot of respect for Dolph Lundgren. Plus the fact that he's like a biochemist in his education.
Joe McLaughlin tells us his name was Peter Scolari.
Scolari. That was Scar or something. It's Peter Scolari. That's what it was. Thank you, Joel. Adrian Blom, Scribe, first anime you watched. Oh God, I think it was Golgol 13. If not Akira, it might have been Golgol 13. I'm forgetting. Remember Golgol 13?
No, I don't watch anime. I like women.
NES game. It was basically the Japanese James Bond. It was really kind of cool. Let's see. What else we got here? Any other questions, guys? We're just
Rocky 4, yes.
Yes, Rocky 4. I will break you.
I will break you. I love that as soon as he gets cut, he just dies.
Oh, Jim Heelis brings up something that Mr. Mediker was talking about. Huge Intel CPU bug allegedly causes kernel memory vulnerability with up to 30% performance hit in Windows and Linux. And apparently this affects Intel processors that have been made in the last decade.
Damn.
And it's just being revealed now. And supposedly, if I'm reading Mr. Mediker correctly, the CEO of Intel sold off a majority of his stock last month.
No.
Which is not a good sign if past is prologue. So if that is true, yeah. Hellraiser says, what's our favorite Bruce Willis movie?
Die Hard?
Die Hard, yeah. I mean, there's really no competition. I mean, only second to that might be Hudson Hawk, but, you know.
Yeah, if you discount Die Hard, if that's not allowed as an answer, Hudson Hawk is definitely up there.
Yeah. Let's see. Tara says, mine was Mono Yoko Devil Hunter. I think so. My roommate in college was an anime freakazoid. Like, just by osmosis, I had to watch Cowboy Bebop and Evangelion. And I did like Trigun. I got into Trigun quite a bit. So some of these names I recognize just by, like I say, being on the periphery of it all, but I haven't seen a whole lot of anime as compared to some. Oh, and also Hellsing. You watched a lot of Hellsing too. What about movies? Sorry.
Cody Fry wants to know what a Lords of the Night sitcom would look like. I think you listen to it every night.
Yeah, you're listening to it right now. It's just with a laugh track is all. Like every time SDA interrupts me, there'd be a laugh track. Or every time we make a Meatloaf reference, there'd be a laugh track. If we had a soundboard for this show, I think we'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
I had soundboards for things. Your boy Pat says Blind Date. Oh God, I haven't thought about Blind Date. That is a Bruce Willis movie. That is true. Blind Date.
Wow. Yeah.
Jesse Fennec Fox says, "What's your favorite Alan Rickman movie?" Oh, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. If I can't say Die Hard, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yeah, if you can't say Die Hard, that probably Galaxy Quest. I love Prince of Thieves.
Yeah.
He was great in there too, but Galaxy Quest was awesome.
Captain Bramble says The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. I have been waiting for Buckaroo Banzai versus the World Crime League for like 30 years now. Hasn't happened. They say at the end of the credits, you know, get ready to see Buckaroo Banzai versus the World Crime League as the sequel. It's like the sequel that'll never be made. But still, Buckaroo Banzai was just weird but cool. Favorite Sam Jackson movie? Oh, The Negotiator.
Yeah, Negotiator. He's been in so many good movies though.
Let's see. Amos and Andrew. That's a good Samuel.
That was him and Nick Cage. Right?
Yeah, Nick Cage and Samuel L. Jackson. There's a pair up you probably never thought you'd see, but it was there for a brief time. Let's see. Cody Fry, thoughts on Death Becomes Her. Groundbreaking special effects, overwrought. That was kind of my thought of it. Oh, what else? Fifth Element. I love Fifth. You know, Fifth Element. It's one of those movies that you either love or hate. I love Fifth Element. I wouldn't necessarily call it the best Bruce Willis movie. It's a good one, but there's so much else going on there, and yeah, it's a great flick though. I love it. Everybody's asking us movie.
Jack Cochran. Will George Lucas ever be able to top his best movie, Howard the Duck? Yeah. He topped it with The Phantom Menace. Howard the Duck. Yes, I'm saying it. Howard the Duck is better than The Phantom Menace.
You might be right. You might be right.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Scott McGinnis, Scribe Light, have you seen Unforgiven? I don't know, Monkey. Have I seen Unforgiven? We
did a stream about it, dude.
Yeah, we did like a 2-hour stream about Unforgiven. We went chapter, verse, and elsewise about Unforgiven. Just go to my movie reviews. If you want to see what movies we've at least covered so far that I love or that we love, go to the movie reviews on my playlists, and Monkey's got them too. Make Europe Strong Again. La Femme Nikita or Leon the Professional? And of course, we're not talking about the La Femme Nikita remake, Point of No Return, because obviously we don't want to talk about that one. But I like Leon the Professional better than I like La Femme Nikita. Because I mean, Gary Oldman as the villain in Leon the Professional is just amazing. That's like the first time I ever really knew who Gary Oldman was after watching that movie. I was just like, who is that guy? And then they were like, oh, he also plays these other characters and he's an absolute chameleon. It's like, holy shit. That was a great flick. Have you seen The Professional?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it was Princess Amidala's very first movie, and I suddenly figured her name. Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman, yeah.
Yeah. Now there is a really kind of creepy romantic vibe between Natalie Portman's like 15-year-old and Leon. I'm not going to deny that. It's not necessarily a feature of the story, but it is an aspect of it that is memorable, if not a little disturbing. Let's see. Blazing Saddles, another movie that would never be made today, says Joel McLaughlin. Yes, of course. Probably not. Or at least it could be made if the people behind it were black. I don't think white people could get away with making a movie like that today.
I think an indie movie like that would be a surprise hit, and then you'd see a whole bunch of knockoffs.
Let's see. Jack Cochran says, SDA likes puzzle cubes. Has she ever tried one of those real-life escape rooms?
She's trapped in one right now.
Yeah, she is.
But no, I like puzzle cubes. What do puzzle cubes have to do with escape rooms?
Maybe you have to turn them.
I'm sorry. It's just the way that you said that.
Has SDA seen Blazing Saddles?
No, she hasn't.
Let's see. Crossbarrow says an all-female Blazing Saddles is more likely. No. This day and age, that might be the only other thing that can make it happen if it were to happen at all.
That's why I said, oh God, because I just suddenly remembered the campfire scene, and that would just be totally different in an all-female one.
Oh, yeah.
They'd all be sitting there queefing.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Oh, yuck. It came from the front. Let's see.
These beans smell like fish.
Ha ha ha.
What else do we have here?
Crazy Man 84 says, if the world was destroyed tomorrow and you could transport to one fantasy world, what would it be that is not Star Wars? Either Princess Bride world or Fantasia from Neverending Story.
I would transport to South Park.
Yeah, it is a fantasy world. SDA?
The Vampire Diaries.
Oh!
I don't make fun of your shit. You don't make fun of my shit.
You don't make fun of what? What?
I don't make fun of the stuff you like.
It seems like that should be a false statement.
See, didn't you do that earlier?
I don't think so. I'm not usually like a dick about things that other people like.
Oh, I'm a dick about things people like.
Unless it's fucking onions or some shit like that. But no, like you're extra nerdy and I'm not super dicky about it, and I don't vomit on you. So I just feel like maybe not vomiting on me is like.
You vomit on me kissing my wife.
Yeah, but like that's different.
He likes his wife.
How's that?
No, that's not dirty stuff. That's totally different.
That's not dirty stuff.
Nerdy.
Oh, nerdy. Oh. Well, from SDA's perspective, romance is kind of nerdy.
Ugh.
Yeah, see? Okay.
At least you didn't say Twilight. Indeed.
Let's see.
The Vampire Diaries has Damon Salvatore, so we're going that way.
I don't know who that is.
Probably some hot guy she likes.
That's exactly who it is.
Yeah.
Does he look like an old homeless man?
He does not actually. You shut the fuck up, monkey.
SDA, do you know who Mel Brooks is?
I've heard of him.
Okay.
Oh.
That was Scott McGinnis.
One of the funniest men ever born. That man is amazing. And I love listening to him give interviews, too. He's really smart.
He's got great stories, man. Oh, jeez.
He does.
Let's see. What else? I missed. Captain Bramble says The Incredible Mr. Limpet. Are we just going through Don Knotts movies now? Like, how about the Apple Dumpling Gang?
I think somebody mentioned that earlier, actually.
Did they? Okay, I must have missed it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Spaceballs, Mr. Limpet. SDA needs a good snuggle, says Adrian Blom.
No,
Okay.
she doesn't.
Okay.
Not no.
All right. Okay. All right.
Like maybe from Bear Baka.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh, here's a quick Grand Monkey story for you.
Okay.
We went to watch remember she calls the Grinch Scary Movie, right?
Yes.
We went to watch that the third time today, and I asked her if she wanted to come sit up on my lap, and she holds her hands up. She goes, "It's not scary, Grandpa.
Oh.
It's not scary."
That's so cute.
Oh, jeez. You need to give her own show, honestly.
She's adorable.
You just need to film her just living and put that on YouTube.
The shit she comes up with.
Oh, that's great. Let's see. 5-minute warning, guys. BG says, Scribe Light, favorite Star Wars novel? I have one, actually, of the old expanded universe. God, what was it? I used to read it all the time. Well, not all the time, but I read it more than once. Oh, God. Well, I guess it would probably be Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina. This was this is one of several anthology books where they took like background characters from, or Tales of the Bounty Hunters. That's also a good one too. But the Mos Eisley Cantina one, they took all like the characters from the Mos Eisley Cantina scene and gave different authors the assignment of come up with a backstory for these guys. And one of them was Timothy Zahn, who came up with one for the twin sisters at one end of the bar. And it was just such an amazing expansion of the lore in very sort of soft ways. It wasn't really changing history or anything, but it was just sort of like taking these characters and saying, how did they get to this bar? Or what are they doing in the bar when they're there? Or what led up after they left the bar? That kind of stuff. And all these different authors, I think Kevin Anderson was in there, Timothy Zahn did one, a whole bunch of people did just great little vignettes that really expanded the universe in that one book. And I thought that was great.
I'm actually I was currently sort of listening to the new Leia book that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm less than thrilled with it. It's written by a young adult author, and I should have figured that out by the name because when I was 14, 15, I was reading her books, and she kind of turns Leia into a whiny little bitch.
Oh, like her brother.
Yeah, it's really, I'm like, oh, why'd you have to do that? Because she's nobody notices me and I'm upset. And it's I'm just...
Oh, that's not Leia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was like, what is this? Because she's supposed to be 16. But I'm like, I don't know. It kind of bummed me out. I was like, this is...
Yeah, the only Star Wars author that really matters is Timothy Zahn. That guy revitalized a franchise that had basically gone to sleep in the 90s with the Thrawn trilogy. And just not everything, but just about everything he's done or every little aspect he added to the expanded universe back then was gold. The only other author that I really appreciated was the guy who did the X-Wing series. I think his name was Michael Alston or something. I'm probably saying that incorrectly. But going from the military angle and staying away from the Force... Yeah, Timothy Zahn and the X-Wing series was probably the two best things that ever happened to Star Wars lore outside of the West End Games role-playing books that just went off to the races in trying to expand the universe. So,
I will say,
sorry, SDA. Griffin Turbo says Michael Stackpole. That's what it was. I don't know who Michael was. There an Alston? Was there an author that came along and did Alston? Anyway, sorry, SDA.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were done. I did read, when I went to El Paso last April, I actually read Ahsoka,
right?
That novel, and that was really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, I enjoy what the novels do for the universe, and so I was excited to read the Leia one, and then it just starts off as this whiny little bitch, and I'm like, aw.
When does it take place? I mean, is it set
when Leia's supposed to be 16 years old?
Oh, well, that could be a growing coming of age thing, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it's trying to be, but she's just annoying. I don't want Leia to be annoying.
Prospero says Philip Jose Farmer was a real writer, right? Yes, he did the River Riverworld books, and the first couple of those were great. Riverworld was a really interesting setting. The books kind of went a little off later on as once he started explaining like who was behind the scenes of all of that, that's when it started to kind of taper off because the mystery was half of the fun. But otherwise, yeah, the first couple were great. Guys, we're at the top of the hour. Thank you so much for coming out as you always do every night, guys. You're the you're the best audience on YouTube, but of course, you're the only audience I know, so I might be biased. I do my best otherwise. I watch other streams and things, and I think we lucked out with you guys. Everybody who donated, thank you so much. I'll be working on those ads. I may take all the Florida Man ads and do something special with those as its own thing. Depending on how I decide to do that, you'll find out tomorrow night. Or I may just do those as one big block tomorrow night by themselves. Let's see. And tomorrow night we are on Monkey's channel, as per usual. SDA, Monkey, as always, thank you for joining me. Guys, your life makes me sad, and the rest of us too. But Logan Paul's makes me more so. See you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Bye.